Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Different women require different methods. Different women require different methods. And this is in line with the video I did yesterday and the day before. See, one of the things why people can't get stuck in the notion that every dating coach should be on the same page, or there's just one way to get women, and people get confused when somebody says something contradictory because the women themselves are different. Now, one of the things I don't get into as much publicly, now I think I do have, if you go through my pay-per-view videos, I might have done some on personality. And in fact, I've done some stuff publicly when I've talked about like the different natures of women, the different personalities of women. And if you think about it, there's so many classifications. Like I've publicly talked about the house of the woman. And then I've also talked about, I believe in paid video, counterfeit personalities. And then there's so many systems. If you talk about like the metaphysical type of systems like astrology or the Chinese Bagua or the Myers-Briggs personality thing and or the Enneagram, stuff like that. The fact of the matter is all these women, you can't approach them. Only thing they have in common is a vagina. But then there's going to be a range there because lesbians have vaginas. And then really girly girls have vaginas, but you can't approach maybe that woman who's a bookworm the same way you approach that woman who's a jock. So there's going to be different stuff. Now I said I'll use two examples. One system that I've talked about is the house of the woman. Now the house of the woman, that's the moon. That's the seated hawk. That's the treasure chest, and then that's the elegant rose. You can't approach all those women the same way, or the same bait is not going to work on them. Like the moon woman, that's that maternal energy in a woman. That's that woman who wants to have a home. She wants to take care of the kids. Professionally, if they do work, they tend to work around kids. Those kindergarten teachers or teachers tend to have that moon energy, because one thing about a maternal energy, it can tolerate a lot of stuff from like people because it's nurturing, so it can tolerate different personality types. And that's what any mother would have to have. They have to love children equally. You know, one is like a very good one, the other one's a demon child, but the mother's going to love them equally. But that maternal energy requires a certain energy from a man, like that protective energy, that warrior energy, that man who's going to protect the home. So that woman, she might, when she's looking at a guy approaching on a subconscious level, she's saying, okay, is this a good daddy type? Is this a guy who, like in 3 a.m. when there's a noise, he's going to jump up and smash somebody? Is this the type of man who's willing to work and let me stay at home and play with the kids? So when you approach that woman, you can say whatever, do whatever, but that's the energy she's looking for from you. And then with the seated hawk, that's a more intellectual type of energy. So she's looking for that guy who's going to discuss history with her or something. Or that guy who can really think. She's looking more for the thinker in a man. So if you're approaching her doing anything else, she might be like, eh. And remember, all of these are regardless of looks. Or the treasure chest, that's the money woman. It ain't so much about like a treasure chest type of woman ain't the type who's looking for you to give her money. That's more the elegant rose if she gonna deal with you. No, the treasure chest type of woman got her own hustle going, so she want to know you that type of guy gonna get your own hustle going too, and y'all can work together. So she's gonna look at that. So when you approach it, she's looking at you and says, okay, is this a hustler type, or this a type who want to sit around and be taken care of? Most of the time, she ain't gonna take care of him. And then you get the elegant rose. That's the party girl. So she looking at that guy. You approach her. If you coming off too serious or something like you ain't about having fun, she might be, hey, but you get that guy kind of joking around. Look like he ready to just go start dancing in the middle of the streets. Boom. So If you dealing with all of those, you would need like a different strategy for each. And also, I talk about some other stuff like different personality types. Like you have some women might be that type. You get some women, they that type, they can be hot and cold with you. So you gotta have that personality. If you find that woman attractive, you gotta have a type of personality that can deal with that. And maybe even lead her a bit. Also, you probably had to be that type who's gonna have to be more assertive with her. Because they hot and cold. A hot and cold type of woman, the way she is, she'll be real hot, really choosing signals and everything, and then the next week act like she don't know you. So if you want to deal with her, you got to deal with extremes. And then you got some women, they just want to be in a relationship. So they receptive to anybody who like says hi. Most people who say hi, they got a little bit of stuff, but if you approach them like you want to be in a relationship and you can tolerate a few other things, boom. And then you got some women, they not comfortable with a man unless they have some measure of control over. Now this ain't all women, so that woman might be the type who skip over a dude who got all this shit together, but is strong-minded enough not to let you run her. Let a woman run them and deal with that guy who got some insecurities or maybe some financial issues or younger than her or something that she can establish some type of control, even if it's just sexual control. Just as an aside, a significant number of sex workers have control issues. A lot of them even get into that business so they can have control over a man, but that's another conversation. But a significant amount of them got a control dynamic going on. So sometimes you see a woman, you might see that woman, she real attractive, but she dealing with that guy who's average looking or overweight. And you're looking at her like, why are they together? Sometimes that's a control thing. Because she couldn't control a guy of equal attraction or equal money or some way above her. And she's not comfortable with that. And then you got some women, you got the other extreme. If you the type of guy that a woman can control, she has zero respect for you and won't deal with you. She wants a take charge man. Unfortunately, there's one personality type, they want to take charge man, but they also will rebel against it. It's crazy. And then you got another type of woman, she's going to relate to you, but not from her heart. She'll relate to you because y'all, you look good, because you got a certain status and that you got, you good in bed. She'll relate to you on a superficial thing, even try to marry you on a superficial thing. But you gotta have a glittery surface for her. So you got different things. And trust me, there's so many angles I can go into it. In fact, that's one thing I do with my private group. I've done some webinars for them where I got into reading women, and they'll tell you. And I've already done 2. I could probably do a dozen. Because there's so many little nuances, so many little tricks, and plus I'm still learning. I still study women. So there's always different personalities, different things, different combinations, different reads on a woman. So because of that, you gotta use different methods. You can't see, that's why sometimes people, they'll say they approached 100 women, maybe get 10 of them. Or even 5 of them. That's because whatever method they used, only works on those 5. That's really it. Because any relationship, any hookup just comes down to compatibility. And whatever you did was just compatible with that 5. You playing a numbers game. Now, if somebody understands the different personality things and can switch up, that's the person who can actually get a lot. You'll find with a lot of players, a lot of men who are very successful with women, they have the type of personality that can switch up, therefore being compatible. But that's rarefied air. That is rarefied air right there. So that's just the thing to remember. And I ain't even get into the role that race, class, religion, all of that plays into it too, because regardless of the personality, then it's still being mitigated by the subculture, the mainstream culture, the economic class, the education level, the religion, the race, region of the country. Most people who've traveled to multiple cities, any place, they'll say, well, the women in this location behave a certain way and look for a certain thing, but then the women in this other location look for something totally different. So, so dudes have to be different. So you need a different method. So when you're approaching women or even looking at a coach or something, you got to say, okay, which one has dealt with the type of women that I'm trying to get with or that I find most attractive? Because if you're trying to deal with a moon woman in that maternal energy, then you got to think in terms, okay, well, what coach deals with being a father and dealing with family and kids? So it might be more of a family man type of coach. But then if you want to deal with that party girl, you might have to deal with that guy who knows about going to clubs and all of that and approaching there. Or the intellectual thing. Somebody might say, well, okay, you can't do all that. You need to learn all these subjects or read a lot so you can talk with this type of woman. And the business thing, it might be that type of woman, you might have to tell that might be the type of coach who say, okay, you need to go to like some real estate seminars, some business seminars, places where professionals going to hang out, something like that. So that's the bottom line. So anyway, that's all I got for today. I'll talk to you later. Peace and blessings.